All right, bro. When you're finished. So we'll just jump straight into it. If you can just give us an intro on who you are, where you're from, and maybe where you currently reside.
Yep. Ngā mihi ki ngā uri o Aotearoa ko Franz Oliver ho. Thank you to the descendants of the land along my club. My name is Franz Oliver. Where do I reside? It's kind of a tough one. All over Aotearoa. I travel and hitch the country and pretty much share my story, yeah.
And where are you from?
I'm originally from Papamoa, yeah, from the Bay of Plenty. Yeah. Yeah, and then at the moment I'm staying in Whangamata, yeah, with my mum. I'm going through some situations in life at the moment.
Yeah. Morning. Oh, awesome. And I know that the last campaign we did, you were trying to jump on then.
Yeah.
But, but we had our whānau at that time. But what made you, or what makes you want to even jump on to the campaign and share your journey with us?
Pretty much just hope. Like if I can share my story and someone might be out there hopefully listening, share this out to someone if you think it's going to help someone. So please share this live stream out. But just hope, creating hope. And if someone hears my story and it resonates with them, then they can be like, holy moly, here's this guy out here doing his thing. And if he can do it, then I can do it too.
Oh, I love that, bro. All right, then. Well, with that being said, where does your journey with addiction begin?
My addiction was methamphetamine.
Yeah.
I was addicted to methamphetamine on and off for about 15 years. I'm currently 37. So it started back when I was 20 years old. I was living in Auckland. I was in Auckland and I'm quite okay. I get to a place where I'm like, I don't really want to share it, but I know by sharing this story, it's going to help someone else. So I just got to keep reminding myself that I was sexually assaulted by a dude at age 20 years old. When I was living in Auckland, I was up here as a steel rigger, but yeah. So I woke up to this dude who was doing stuff to me in my sleep, and there's three things that people or victims, or I like to say I'm a survivor now, but
yeah, bro.
You either freeze. What is it? Freeze. I can't remember the three things, but the one that I did was frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I started thinking, am I gay? No, I like women. Should I beat him up? Has he got a knife on him? Is he going to kill me? Is he going to do it? What's going to happen? So many different thoughts running through your head, and you're like, so growing up, I wanted to be a rapper, and when I was 20 years old, hadn't touched no addictions, wasn't addicted to anything, but when that had happened, I started thinking, fuck, if I tell anyone, what are people going to call me? Are people going to call me a faggot, a homo, or something like that? Like,
judge you.
Yeah, judge me. And so that night when it happened, adrenaline had kicked in, and he'd gotten off me and moved on to the next person.
Is it freeze, flight, fight, or flight?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Freeze, flight, fright. Yeah. Freeze, flight, fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I froze. But yeah, so he went on to the next person that was in the room as well. And then that person had said something like, what are you up to, bro, sort of thing. And that's when I thought, shit, grabbed a set of drawers beside me and smashed it across this fella's back.
Who the fuck was he? Was he a friend of your guys, or was he a stranger?
So we lived at a halfway house, and so I'm from Papamoa, and me and my friend moved up to Auckland. We stayed in Grafton.
Yeah.
I think it was called the Grafton Hotel back then, which was like a halfway house for people that come out of, I think it was called the Rock back then, or Mount Eden Prison.
Yeah.
And they'd go stay there, and then they'd integrate into
back into society. Yeah.
And this guy who had done it that day, so I think this was the first encounter I'd ever come across someone who liked dudes.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm off to go see my boyfriend, I'm like, what the hell? Like, you're like, boys?
Yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
A little bit like, what? Sort of thing. Because I'd never seen that, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so anyway, that happened, went to sleep, and then that stuff happened, and then went on to my mate, and then I put the cupboard, the set of drawers across him, and then grabbed my mate, and we went off to the police station in Auckland, and Central, and then so at the time I was dating an exotic dancer stripper, and she was a user, and she'd been going through her own stuff as well, and I knew that she used, but yeah, we went to the police station. And then I told the police officer what had happened, and I got I'm quite good with picking up on people's vibes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I could sense that this police officer didn't believe me. And I mean, you know, why would he? Like, this is the sort of story, well, for me, that this only happens on the news. Like, you only hear about people getting sexually assaulted or raped on the news. Like, not
younger.
And not in my world. Like, and like this. Of course, like younger as well. Like, why would this cop believe me that this 20-year-old person had been sexually assaulted by a dude? And then, so I was starting to like panic a little bit, and then wanted to gap it, you know. And then it wasn't until I said the offender's name that he knew exactly who I was talking about, and he said that we know who he is. He's a known offender. He's actually just come out of jail for molesting a 5-year-old boy, and I was just like,
fucking hell.
What the fuck? Like, no, I'm out of here. And because he was explaining, like, it could go on for, like, the court stuff could go on for, like, up to 2 years sort of thing. And I was like, I don't want to drag my family through it. Yeah. I don't want my mum to think that she'd failed as a mother. I mean, I was 20 years old, so I'm an adult, so I can look after myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't want her to get upset with what had happened with me. I'm an empath. I don't want people's sympathy, so I sort of just kept it within myself. And so I ended up gapping it from the police station, and must have been a week or so later, and I couldn't cope with it. Like, I didn't go counselling or nothing like that, and I didn't really know about counsellors or anything like that, or to talk to anyone. And you know, there's that stigma of being a guy where it's like, you know, if you say something or whatever, you know, I don't want all these people to think these weird things about me, or if they, you know, for whatever reason. And so, anyway, the girl that I was seeing, our relationship, we'd been sort of on and off for about 3 years. I think I started dating her when I was 19, and then we sort of split up when I was 21. And our relationship had started deteriorating, and so I was like, I think I got high with her in high on meth and tauranga. And she'd invited a girl over and whatnot, and it was quite a bit of a sexual sort of thing. And so for me, my meth addiction started to grow, and I was like, you know, I'll just do it this once, you know, I'll just do it once and that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's an out of it feeling, you know, and it hid my pain, hid the embarrassment away, hid the guilt, and I shouldn't even have to be embarrassed or guilty about this. What had happened
to you,
you know, but I still didn't know how to process my emotions, I suppose. And
so you had this blast,
and I felt like it was good, and then so I started using that to hide my my trauma. And growing up as a kid, like, I had an amazing upbringing. I mean, I didn't know who my father was, but you know, that's got nothing to do with my addiction or nothing. It was more the fact that, you know, that I'd been sexually assaulted by this guy, and again, at age 20, you know, you should be able to do something about it, but I didn't know what to do. But I started using meth, and
so there was probably feelings of like, you know, the fact that you didn't fight him or you didn't fuck him up or something. Yeah. You reckon?
Definitely, yeah. And also too, like, when I started using meth, that put a plaster on that feeling, and knowing that I didn't even go through with it at the police station, you know, like, I started to think, fuck, what if he's doing it to more people? What if he's doing it to more people? And for some reason, like, now I sort of think that it was quite selfish of me not doing something about it, but I just didn't want to know. I just blocked it out, and that's usually how I deal with a lot of stuff that's going on in my world, is when there's drama happening or something like that, then I
Yeah.
just block it out and just
Yeah.
move on. And I think
It's like a
with me,
self-coping mechanism.
yeah, hard out. And you know, the relationship failed with that girl, but my meth addiction started getting heavier and heavier. I remember, I think I was 23 or 24, and my mum's house had been raided, and we had this dog growing up. My mum's dog was called Italian, and it was like her pride, you know, like my mum loves her pets.
Yeah.
And he passed away, and she kept the ashes, and the ashes were in this thing, and the cops had gone through the house and raided the house, and obviously gone through the ashes. So my mum didn't like me after that, you know. So that
And
was.
they raided the house for you?
I don't know if it was for me or if
yeah.
it was for another person. But yeah, so and like that. So that was one cross on the list, you know. The list that I'm sort of saying is like there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of cons with smoking methamphetamine. You know, I might have had a good job, but all my money was going on meth, on my addiction. You know, I was buying cars, and then when that didn't work out, I'd flick it off for drugs or something like that. And I had this Beamer. I bought this Beamer. Oh, it was a nice Beamer. And then these guys wanted my Beamer and were wanting me to trade the Ute for this Beamer. And I was like, no, I like the Beamer. The Beamer's cool, man. No, I like the Beamer. I don't really like bump stop Ute sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they ended up getting me quite high, and I sort of got into that place of like, effort, let's do this deal, right. You know.
Yeah.
And so we did the deal, and then that Ute ended up having no warrant, and it was green stickered.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, fuck, I just gave up this mean ass Beamer for this bump stop Ute that was green stickered and no warrant. And so I was heading home one day. I think I just gotten up because I worked on the fishing boats for Sanford's as a scampi fisherman. And so I got off the boat, and I think it was like a weekend because we worked month on, month off. And the cop had pulled me over. The cop noticed the car and he pulled me over and he goes, "Where's blah 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 blah?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I knew where he was, but I was like, "I don't know where he is." Like, I bought this off da da da. And then he's like, "This is green stickered, and I know this because I green stickered it." And I was like, "Oh okay then." And then he's like, "Wait here, I'm gonna run your name." And then he ran my name, and I had a warrant out for my arrest. And I had breached PD and all that sort of stuff. I think I just didn't go to PD either because I was out on the boat, or I just got high and I didn't want to go do anything. Because meth, for me, I don't know what it's like for other people, but for myself, it would make me not want to go and do things. Like I'd say I'd go and do things, but I wouldn't go and do things. I'd just stay at home and make music or make video clips or something like that, and not go out and do anything. And I'd always procrastinate. That I'd want to, I don't know, go do skits or something like that. Skits for like TikTok and stuff like that. Or Facebook, not skits like burnouts. But yeah, so, but because I was high and I was like skinny and gaunt, I didn't want the world to know that I'm on a substance, you know.
What was the moment when you were like, holy fuck, my addiction's getting fucking way out of hand?
So that Ute, I actually got that. I had a warrant out for my arrest, went to jail for 2 weeks, and then come out, and then it was a bed and breakfast. Yeah, I know that. And then a week had gone. So a week off the boat, into jail for 2 weeks, bed and breakfast, and then a week out, and then back on the boat. So I was lucky I still got my job.
Yeah.
And then I hated that Ute, and I didn't like that Ute. And then someone, I won't mention, but someone had come over home with another person. And that person wanted to buy my Ute, and they wanted 5 grams for my Ute, or they were going to give me 5 grams, and I was like, oh, I really want cash. And then they're like, oh, well, I'll take it to this place, and I'll get the drugs, and then I'll sell it, and then give you the cash. And I was like, oh, yeah, sweet as. He goes, oh, but I got to take your Ute. And I was like, hey.
Oh, sketchy.
Yeah, I was like, hey, but I already had another someone in the room, and I was like, oh, this is kind of awkward because I had one person that I was sleeping with here, one person that I was sleeping with there. The guy wanted to buy my Ute, and I had another girl in the room. So I was like, oh, this is a situation that I don't want to be in. And I was like, okay, well, I know those 2 girls. Yeah, all good, take the Ute. But I never seen the Ute again. Never seen the Ute, never seen the drugs. So I was like, But I didn't.
And they didn't come back for the girls.
Nah, so the guy dropped the girls off.
Yeah,
and then took off to Rotorua, and I never seen the ute again. I know the number plate too, and I've always keeping my eye out for their ute. But that was like 10 years ago, 10 plus
Let
years
it go,
ago.
bro.
I've
Let it go.
Yeah.
Moving on.
But that's like another con to add to the list. You know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I ended up getting clean when I was 26, and then met a woman and got married and had kids and done music and travelled and done that sort of thing. And but I always.
Oh, so you got clean?
Yeah, so I got clean for 6 years, and then I hated everyone that done it, and I don't know why I hated everyone that done it. It wasn't until like now that I realized it was me that I hated because I couldn't do it. The relationship that I was in didn't want me to do it. They helped me get clean, and but I always wanted. Yeah, it was because I hated myself.
How did you get clean?
So
on that stint there.
On that stint there, it was music that helped me at that time, and I was focusing on music. I was wanting to do. I think we opened up for Twister a few years back. Yeah, we opened up for Twister. And then we started doing shows around the country or around the North Island, and that was cool. But then the group started having because the group there was like 4 or 5 of us, and then that started sort of going separate ways, and then my relationship or marriage started going separate ways, and it was all over the show sort of thing, and it wasn't until I got to age 32 that I relapsed, and with everything that was going on in my world, the only thing that I knew that I could resort back to or sort of deal with my demons was to, smoke meth and hide behind that curtain sort of thing, and then so I relapsed.
What did that do when you picked that pipe back up?
So what did I do when I picked that pipe back up?
Or what did that do for you, and how you were feeling with everything fucking crumbling around you?
I felt good, which is kind of sad to say, but that was the only way that I knew how to cope. Was my coping mechanism was that, and but still not talking about what I'd gone through back when I was 20 years old. Being sexually assaulted by that dude, and that was my main thing that I didn't want anyone to know, and and then I think it was when I was 35, I got back with my ex-wife, and then I think I was 79 days clean, and then I left that marriage, and then I went home, and then on the 100th day I was like, let's celebrate, and so I celebrated, and then got high again, and that was...
Celebrated 100 days by going back to day one.
Yeah, I know, stupid. So I went back to that, and then that's when it just went straight downhill straight away. I started getting chased by gangs. Not going to mention the gangs because it's all sorted now. But I was just an easy target. I'd left my wife, was living in my car, had my MacBooks, my iMacs, had my cameras and all that sort of stuff in my car.
You were that guy.
Yeah. So I had I was an easy target,
Yeah.
But so I ended up, what happened? So the day that I got clean, so I'm 2 years and 2 weeks clean now, was when I was 35 and my car had been broken into, and it was by someone who I thought was a friend. And that person knew that my car was broken down, and I parked my car up at a gas station in Tauriko at the lakes, and under a camera, thinking it would be sweet. But the guy still managed to break and didn't care about the cameras, just broke into my car, stole my camera and my computer. And so at that point, I was like, you could steal my car, all good. I'll just go out on the boat and buy another car. You can steal my drugs, sweet as, I'll buy more. But you steal my camera that's got footage on it that I just done a hip hop video clip for. Well, I can't get that back. And I want to be a director, So I was like, now you're messing with my my hobbies, my future sort of thing. But then I was like, hold on a second, I don't really have a future if I'm going to be doing this. I was like, shit, okay, I need to stop. My marriage is falling apart, or can't see my kids or whatnot, and I need to sort my life out. I'm holding on to my job by a thread, and it was a good job too. I ended up quitting that job 6 months after me getting clean. But when my car was broken into, I decided then and there, okay, enough is enough. Franz, you've walked down this path so many times, you've gotten clean, and you've relapsed too many times. This is enough. When is it going to stop? And so I ended up going live on Facebook on my personal page, and I went live on Facebook, and I said exactly what happened. You know, my car's been broken into by this guy who I thought was a friend. He stole my camera, and I wanted to film myself because I wanted my future self to look back on my past and be like, if I was to go for another struggle in life, because no doubt we're going to go through struggles in life. That's just part of life. It's just how we deal with it. And so I was like, I'm going to film myself, and if I ever feel low or like wanting to resort back to it, which I don't, but if I did, then I've got that evidence of myself that I've put there on social media that's there. And so I filmed myself live. And
like to keep you accountable.
Yeah. And that video reached the homie Peter T. Big shout out to Peter T. And so that video reached him, and he sent me a voice message going, hey bro, I seen your video on Facebook and your car getting broken into. I want to let you know that I could see that you were just quite distraught, and I want to let you know that, you know, God's got good plans for you. He's got good plans for all of us, and I hope that you catch the break that you need to catch, my G, and keep your head up. And I was like, even though it was 32 seconds of a voice message, I was like, holy moly, Peter T's messaging me, like, oh, I must mean something. And so that gave me that confidence boost, like, I do mean something. We all mean something in this world. And so I was like, if he can see it, then shit, I must be something. So I told myself I wanted to get clean. And luckily that night I was arrested and put into the cells and slept it off. And then, and I guess my mum always talks about, talk to the universe, and the universe will provide, and the universe this, and nah. And I was like, you're crazy, lady. But it's true, you know. What you put out to the universe is what you're going to get back. Yeah. And so I said it, you know, I was going to get clean. I don't want to do this no more. The live video, and the universe provided me with my camera and my MacBook back. So 3 days after me deciding to get clean, the guy was like, oh, hey, bro, I've got your camera, I've got your MacBook. You want to come pick it up? And I was like, fuck yeah. So, and we know, like, if you're, involved in that world, you ain't going to get your stuff back. So I was quite lucky that I got my stuff back. So that was a sign or tohu from the universe saying that, you're on the right path. So I did another live saying that my stuff has been given back, and, you know, don't go and beat that guy up. Don't beat him up on my account, because then that's karma that's going to come back on me. I'm a big believer of karma. Yeah. And I did that. And then in that video I said, you know, in 6 months time I'm going to come back bigger and stronger, and I'm going to start working on myself. So I jumped off social media for about 6 months, and it wasn't until about 6 months later I got a letter because I had gone to the police about my stuff being stolen, and I got a letter from the police saying that we can't find your stuff. If you got any sort of evidence or any sort of information or leads to your stuff, then can you let us know? And I looked at the date and I was like, holy shit, I got my stuff back like 3 days after I come to you guys. Like, but then I looked at the date and I was like, 6 months, holy shit, I've been 6 months clean. So my tool that I used to get clean was procrastination. I'm a big procrastinator. A lot of humans are procrastinators. And I'll tell myself, you know, please share this live stream out to people who might, might help someone. But procrastination. I told myself I'll go see the dealer tomorrow. I'll smoke meth tomorrow. And before I knew it, I was 6 months clean. Wow. And so procrastination is a good thing to use, because we all know tomorrow never comes, you know. And so so I did it like that, and then I was out on the fishing boat. And it was a week or 2 weeks, a week into the fishing trip, and I was on Facebook, and I saw that my mate had died on a motorbike. And I've never dealt with death in my adult years. I've dealt with death when I was a kid, but you don't really understand death when you're a kid or a teenager, you know. It's not until you get to your adult sort of ages and you're like, holy shit, we could die. And this guy had like a wife and kids, and a lot of friends, and I was one of those friends. And to see that he had, you know, left his kids behind and his wife behind, for me it made me think, life is too short. Life is hella short, and we always say you only live once, bullshit. We get to live every single day. So why don't we live it till the fullest every single day? Chase your dreams every single day. So I was like, okay, I'm jumping off this fishing boat halfway through the trip and I'm doing my dream. So my dream was to walk the country. Ever since I was 17, I've wanted to walk the country and ask everyone I come across for $1. And so I gave my cars away, gave everything away. And but also in saying that, when my mate had passed away, I wanted to, if I had died, what am I leaving behind for my children? I wanted to leave a legacy behind. Those crackhead video clips that I had on Facebook of me saying my car was broken into, I don't want my kids to remember me as that person. I want them to know who I am today. So I created the Facebook page and just started going, traveling the country. I started up in Te Rerenga Wairoa, Cape Reinga, if you don't know where that is. And gave my cars away, gave everything away, headed up there, jumped on a truck. So that was on the 29th of March last year. So I was 7 months clean. 6 months or 7 months clean then. And then, so I worked on myself, but I just needed to go and do it. So I created the Facebook page on the 1st of April last year. Last year. And then, but every third week I'd stop what I'm doing to hitch back to Tauranga and Rotorua to catch up with my kids. So I got 2 children. And that's another thing, like that sort of upsets me a lot by me being an addict as well, you know, like I don't really understand about passing trauma on to the next generation. I don't really understand that. But I think it was when I was at this another sort of recovery sort of thing, and this person had shared a story about putting trauma onto the next generation, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't actually understand that.
You deal with it.
Yeah, so I didn't. Luckily, my children are quite young, so they don't really understand it as such, or like, you know, they won't really remember me being on meth. But I'm glad that I stopped when I did, because I don't want them to have like neglect trauma sort of thing. I don't want them to have that. And I know that it's like whatever happens and all that sort of stuff, but we want to look after our kids, you know, we want to nurture them and make sure that they're going to be cool, you know. But so I'm glad that I acknowledged that, my addiction when I did and got clean. And since I've been on this adventure, I've met some amazing people. Like, being in recovery, I've got to learn how to ride a motorbike. I've got to jump out of planes that are perfectly fine. Learnt about myself. When I first started, I wanted to walk State Highway 1 and ask people for $1. I didn't have that confidence. I was like, oh man, I can't. So the first person I asked for $1, it was up in Kaitaia, and her name was Luana. So a big shout out to Luana. And I hit her up for $1, told her what I was up to, and she goes, oh my gosh, that's a cool story. Here's $3. And she was heading to the gas station to get gas, and she only had $7. And I was like, oh, no, I only just want $1, like, you have it. And then she's like, no, I really like what you're doing, you have it. And then I asked the next lady, and she was with a kid, and I asked her, and she said no. And I was like, oh, shame. So I like power marched through Kaitaia. I was like, no more, I'm not going to do this no more. And and then I just started hitching the country, and until I built my confidence up. But people started, because I started on Kai Now, going live on the boat on Kai Now. And then that's where my confidence started growing for social media. And
what did sharing your journey on social media do for you?
So, man, the first month of me sharing my story, I think I was in Rotorua visiting my son. And this person messaged me and said, oh, hey bro, I've heard your story about how you gave up meth by procrastinating. And at first I thought you were all shit, but then I tried it, and bro, I've been clean of meth for like 14 days now.
Wow.
And I was like, holy moly, like, not only is this tool working for me by procrastinating to give up meth, but it's working for other people too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to share my story more often. But throughout my adventure, I started getting to the point where I was like, oh, I don't want to be known as the ex-meth head who travelled the country and blah, blah, blah. So I've been learning a lot about myself and growing and whatnot. And still growing, we grow every day. But what my life looks like now, amazing.
Hey.
Yeah, amazing. Apart from the teeth, it's all good.
Bro, I can relate.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, the toothaches, no good. But we'll get there one day and we'll sort that out.
Yeah, hard out. No, mean is. So where can whānau come and join you on your adventure?
My great adventure.
Facebook page, eh?
Yeah.
And so where's your adventure at now?
So my adventure is at now. So I've been in the North Island for like the last year and a half. I'm meant to be I'd given myself a year to complete this dream that I wanted to do. But as I've been going throughout the country and people were like going, oh bro, you should buy a pie in this town. Here's $5 or get a pie in this town. And I was like, okay, well why don't I just make a bit of a name for myself as I go through the country? Because I want to walk, trying pies. And I haven't really said this on social media, but I don't even really like pies. And I even got a tattoo, there's the pie guy right there eating a pie.
Oh my God.
I'll take that back. I do love butter chicken. Butter chicken is my favourite food. And
there you go. Become New Zealand's butter chicken connoisseur.
When I found out that there was butter chicken in a pie, I just ate butter chicken pies and that's all I eat.
Oh my God.
What's your favourite pie?
Power.
Yeah. Did you try the one?
I'll stay away from pies, bro. Fucking hell, I'm already packing on the weight. Shit.
I tried a power pie in Tokomaru Bay.
Oh, yes.
Cafe 35. Yeah.
You know what's trippy though is when I got sober and then I came back to New Zealand and then I was going through the whole motion of trying to have visitation with my children. On the interim, in the time between, I thought to myself, fuck, I need to stay busy. Otherwise I'm going to start thinking stupid because I'm going to be bored as fuck and I'm going to start going back to using.
Yeah.
And so I fucking travelled New Zealand.
Yeah.
I travelled New Zealand. I got me this van that had like a bed in the back. I started up in Pai here. I didn't ask anyone for $1. And I travelled all the way down the North Island, went to Wellington, got on the ferry, went all the way down to Bluff, and then come all the way back up. I did the whole fucking thing as well.
Yeah, solid.
And it was just a thing to fucking stay busy, utilise my time wisely. And if I was busy doing something, then I wasn't. There's a saying and it says if you're working on your, what is it? What's that saying? If you're not working on your recovery, you're working on your relapse pretty much. And so I was just hard out fucking went all over New Zealand trying to stay sober and it worked, man. Look at that, I've got my children full time now.
Yeah.
So so that's busy that you're fucking that you're doing that same thing. So where's your great adventure? Where's that heading?
South Island. Yeah.
Definitely
gonna head to the South Island. And then the Chatham Islands as well. And then hopefully Stewart Island. And then when I come back to Bluff, I'm gonna walk the country and ask people for $1. Because I even think that I'm at that point now where I can do it, I think that I'm cool, not cool, but confident. But yeah, there's still places in the South Island where people want me to come. I think they want me to go to the West Coast to do some pounamu carving or something like that. Yeah, which is that hook?
There's a few places in the South Island. I would love to watch you go live and watch you ask for $1 because they're pretty brutal down there.
I lived in Christchurch for a few years.
No, further south. Christchurch is all good. There's some places down there, man. I just was like, fuck, I can't wait to get back to the north.
Invercargill.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to Invercargill.
So you're 2 years sober now.
2 years and 2 weeks,
And what would you say to anyone out there that's been in your position, even in terms of your trauma, what happened to you? What would your advice be for people that are struggling to deal with that?
I think, so I forgot to mention before that I opened up and spoke to my mum about me being sexually assaulted. And once I told my mum about me being sexually assaulted by a dude, the whole weight had just lifted off my shoulders. Like I was okay, you know. Now what's the point of doing meth? So yeah, I ended up telling mum, and that was so good to just release that to my mum. She cried, I cried, we cried, hugged it out, and then I felt good.
Yeah.
And when my car was broken into, that was my fault. That was my fault. Whereas back when I was 20 years old, being sexually assaulted by a dude, that wasn't my fault. My fault was picking up that meth pipe and putting myself in those vulnerable positions. So my advice to anyone out there: speak up. Find someone that you can confide in with trust, and just talk to that person. It's just speak up. Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that will, listen to what you got to talk about. There's a few health out there.
Yeah.
So I never went to rehab, but I did go to when I was in active addiction. I did go to NA meetings, and that helped me a lot, because I saw other people in NA that were just like myself, going through recovery, or and they're in recovery. Well, I'm still in active addiction, but I'm like, holy moly, like these people, some of these stories are quite similar to my situations. Like there's other people out here just like me. Yeah. I'm not the only person who I'm not alone,
Yeah.
And big ups to you too, Nix. When I was in Martin living with my ex-wife, I remember driving back home one day, and I remember heading back to Whangamata where my mum lives, and I thought, what you do is so phenomenal, like so amazing for other people like myself out there to open up and talk, and yeah, that's
me, bro.
We love you, bro. You're an amazing New Zealander.
Okay, calm down. You're making me cringe. Nah, cool as, bro. Alright, whānau, well, there you have it. That's his page right there on Facebook, My Great Adventure, if you want to go over and join him on his great adventure, see where he's at. But bro, on behalf of CWK, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, sharing your vulnerability with us, because I know that would have been hard to, talk about. So we want to say thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Shot my G.